He went out with his metal detector last week with one of our listeners and found some links to the two of the biggest stories in Australian history. Take it away, Harold.
Yeah, it was fantastic getting out there with Tony. He took me out to, the old family home, the old Markwell home, at Stockyard Creek in the Kerry Valley near Bow Desert. Now, the house was called Monomoose, which is an Aboriginal word meaning precious, pure, serene, beautiful, that type of stuff. And I can tell you the location really is beautiful. It's a magnificent place out in the Kerry Valley. Anyway, the home was built in early 1933, but lasted just 27 years because it burnt to the ground.
Right.
And today, Danny, you're asking me before, there's nothing left except for a couple of telltale fruit trees, because fruit trees out in the bush, well, they're not native. You know, people planted them at the back door, near the dunny, that kind of stuff. And so we knew where the house was. And that's where Tony and I recovered some remarkable history that had been lost underfoot for more than 60 years.
Wow.
And one of the pennies we found even predated the house itself. Now, it was built by Jack Markwell for his wife and 8 children. 7 of them were boys. Now, one of those boys came to live at Bouval here in Ipswich, and his descendants are still here today. Anyway, Jack himself was one of 6 brothers, and so with all those sons and brothers, it was inevitable that the family had a bit of a military history. A number trained at Redbank in Ipswich, of course, with the army. Now, a cousin of Jack's was Major Markwell. He served with the 2nd Light Horse in the First World War and was awarded the Distinguished Service Order, which is second only to the Victoria Cross, and was twice mentioned in dispatches. Now, he was set to lead the famous Charge of Beersheba. That was one of the last great cavalry charges in history and a huge part of Australian history. But Major Markwell was shot and killed just before the charge actually happened. So he missed out on his piece of history. Now, meanwhile, at the Markwell house, we found loads of bullets and bullet shells all around the house.
Wow.
Now that's quite unusual because most people actually don't shoot right around their own home. But we also found a number of pennies and half pennies or halfpennies that had been shot through because they had bullet holes in them.
Wow.
So obviously the Markwell boys had fun and no doubt upset their mum by shooting almost anywhere, including their pennies, and they must have been good shots too, because the archaeology we found proves it. Anyway, we also unearthed a fantastic Second World War period compass and canteen stopper. There was loads of stuff there.
Wow.
Now, meanwhile, Jack himself was a bit of a local hero because he was captain of the Kerry cricket team. Now, on the last day of February 1937, he led the team against arch rivals Canungra. Now, Jack scored 14 runs and took a catch, but unfortunately the match finished in a draw, with the Kerry side well ahead by 146 runs, but still needing 3 wickets for victory. Now, the match was notable for a couple of reasons. Firstly, a 15-year-old debuted with a chanceless innings of 98. He was unlucky not to get a century, and followed that up with bowling 4 wickets for 44 runs. Now, secondly, it was the day that the lost Stinson aircraft was found. Now, the plane, remember that? The plane had disappeared in bad weather less than an hour after leaving Archerfield with 7 people on board. It was Bernard O'Reilly. He was a local from the district who found the crash site deep in the rainforest. And it took 50 men to rescue the 2 survivors. Now, this is another huge piece of Australian history. The story made headlines around the world. O'Reilly became a national hero. Now, the rescue party that went up into the mountains, they were from the district, and some of them were on the cricket team. Now, some of them had to pull out of the match, and that's why that 15-year-old got his debut. And now Jack's youngest brother, Babe Markwell, he was one of those rescuers. And Jack himself, he couldn't go because he was essential to the success of the cricket team. Not only was he team captain, but it was also up to him to drive the players to the match in the back of his cream truck. And, of course, there were the cream deliveries.
Forget about the plane crash.
That's right. So for all those reasons, Jack also missed out on his piece of history. So Major Markwell missed out on leading that legendary charge at Beersheba, and Jack Markwell missed out on the famous Stinson rescue, both because of strange quirks of fate. And Danny, it's amazing that metal detecting the old Markwell house recalled both these stories.
Yes.
And for the few hours that Tony and I were there, we really were time travellers. There's no doubt about it.
It's unreal, those metal detectors, and I'll have to come out with you one day and we'll find somewhere and we'll find some gold.
Well, that's right. Well, let's not muck around. Let's go straight to the top shelf.
Straight
You just
to
find me a site and we're there.
Straight
Let's
to
do
the
it.
gold. And you watch that Gold Diggers on TV. I love it. I love that one, the Opal Miners. Just fantastic. Now, how do we find this story? And there's so many good, interesting, fair income stories on the website, on the Facebook site.
Yeah, we'll go online to historyouthere.com. You can go to Facebook and Instagram and X and all those things, but they all point back to historyouthere.com. Over 200 stories about Ipswich. There's about 300 short stories overall. It's all there for you, historyouthere.com.
And tonight, I'm sure you'll be there with Damien and me and all the troops, is Tucker Carlson. Clive Palmer's brought him out. He's controversial at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre tonight, thanks to our remote program director, Jeff Harrison.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Tucker Carlson.
I'd love to be there, but I'm going to the Yippee Cup and then I'm going to the Calbar show.
The Yippee Cup's on.
Yeah.
You're ready and racing. All the fillies are up with their stiletto shoes, and have a look. They're bent over, and there's the G-banger. All right, well, go.
Turn around, you watch your horses now.
Great having you on the program as usual, Harold, and I know you don't go for that gutter-type talk. I'm disgusted in myself. Sorry,
But
mate.
I do go to the Calbar show. Yeah, it's on Friday, so 2 days. It's free to get in. Get out to Calbar for the show.
It's on today.
Yep.
It's on today.
Correct.
And
Get
I'm
out there.
riding one of the dash hounds in the dash hound dash tonight, where you could win $500, and then the fireworks.
Well, and it's free to get in. Seeing you ride a dog and the fireworks, what can be better than that?
Exactly. So get there to the Calbar show. It's on till tonight, and you are tuned and listening to Harold the H. P Cock-a-doodle-doo on West Bremer Radio. It's 8:24.